Hi, everybody. This is part two. It's the spoiler-ridden review for Avengers Endgame. Gonna go into a lot of different, things here. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. If you don't want to be spoiled, then please don't. Just click off this if you don't want to be spoiled. I think everybody that has some investment in this movie franchise, superheroes and such, within the Marvel universe, everybody deserves to kind of be surprised by things. So I'll give you guys a second to decide. All right, let's go. So, how do we start all this off? Well, we start off with lots of sad scenes. Like, oh my gosh, if you have depression, this doesn't help. So, we start off the scene with, what's his name? Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner, who plays Hawkeye. He's at home. He's on house arrest. I think that's the word. He's on house arrest, and he's got like one of those little ankle bracelets that watch his location, or track his location. So he can't leave home. So he's been home just like Ant-Man for like a long while. But the snap happens, and he turns back around. Like when he's outside with his family, they're having like, they're just having fun outside and stuff, and eating, and he's teaching his daughter how to shoot the bow and arrow. He turns around for a second to, I think, either grab the arrow that was just shot by his daughter, and she's gone. And then he looks around, he looks for the rest of the family, and they're gone too. And that's literally the start of it. That's the start of the movie. It was really sad, because I could put myself in that position. I could put myself in just, it's a very sad thing. You lose your family. I think I had, more emotional involvement in a lot of things because I could place myself in those, like many others. You could place yourself in those characters' shoes and just realize what it would do to you. The next scene is showing Iron Man and Nebula out in space, stuck, and I totally called it. Captain Marvel. I mean, Captain Marvel's basically Uber in this film. She comes by, picks up Tony Stark and Nebula, brings them to Earth. I guess that first scene from the ending credits scene from Captain Marvel, I guess that still applies. Like, she came down to see the Avengers first because of Nick Fury's communicator, and then they said, maybe they said, could you help us get Tony Stark? Maybe he's here. They didn't explain that fully. Like, that was actually really weird. That doesn't quite make sense. I'm thinking about it. It really doesn't make sense because there was no explanation on, hey, can you at least go get her for us, or get him for us? But anyway, yeah, she flew in there. She's, their savior, all that stuff, and nobody else can find him, which to me is weird because you'd think, well, maybe Thor could do it because he has Bifrost. He could just go in there, or at least get to the area. But maybe not. Maybe that doesn't make sense either. In any case, they bring them back to Earth. They have some words between Cap and Iron Man, and Iron Man's just like upset. He also looks incredibly thin. It's been 22 days, no food, or at least not much food after, and or not much food throughout those 22 days. I shouldn't say without food for 22 days, because that's not the case. He gets angry, he passes out. Cap and the rest of the team decide to go after Thanos because they found out where his location is, because he used the stones one more time. Like, there was one more huge blast of energy. And they make it up to the planet that he was on that looks like Planet Philippines. That's what my wife would say. It kind of looks like the Philippines. And I think in the end credit scene of Infinity War, I think the end credits did say they used the Philippines for that. So okay, and when they get there, Captain Marvel's the first to land their punch and all that stuff, and Thor comes in. Everyone sort of holds him down. They start asking about the stones. He says he destroyed them, and then, sure enough, he gets the final blow dealt. He actually they had Thor use the axe, chop his hand off where the gauntlet was. Notice the stones are gone. He says, "I destroyed the stones with the stones," and that's what the blast was. That's what the his last use of the stones were. That's how they were able to track him down. And then Thor just, he just says, screw it, and he chops Thanos' head off. And everyone asks, "Why'd you do that for?" And he says, or they ask, "What'd you do that for?" Thor says, "I went for the head." That was really funny. But then Thor goes into a depression, and he takes off, and he's able to get the remaining Asgardians, and they go to Earth. They make their own new city, New Asgard or something. Which works out, and only thing is he becomes depressed and doesn't want to do anything anymore. Everybody else wants to just have their own life and not worry about anything anymore. They just deal with life as it is. And what surprised me the most was the amount of time that went by. 5 years. Literally 5 years go by. The screen, it goes black and it says 5. It doesn't say anything for a second. You start thinking hours, days, months, years. And then years, sure enough, pops up. So that was kind of cool, except you're not expecting it because the end credit scene, actually no, the trailer for the movie, I believe it was the first trailer, had us seeing Ant-Man or something, right? It had Ant-Man at the very end, on the camera. And you see Black Widow doesn't look how she looks in this film. So they did adjust that in the trailer. So going back, the reason Ant-Man got out, and I don't know if anyone else is going to make this connection, but it was a mouse that basically went on the device that turned it on, and sure enough, freed him. You think about that for a second. Who owns Marvel right now? And a mouse is what saved the movie, because none of this would have happened without the mouse. Disney mouse, no. Okay, so anyway, going back to it, he goes over, finds his daughter still alive, but but many other people are gone, as we remember. So he makes his way to Avengers headquarters. And he, lets them know what's going on, tells them about time travel, that he was only in the quantum realm for what seemed to be 5 hours. Tells them what they can do at this moment, and then they try to go to Tony Stark. They try to, but that doesn't work out. They try to go to the Hulk or Bruce Banner. That doesn't work out either. Not as well as it would, normally, I guess. So later on, Iron Man figures it all out, and he comes back to Avengers headquarters, makes up with Cap, and then they perfect the device. So they have quite a few Avengers going. They also got Thor, but he... This is the part I didn't really like too much. I was hoping they would just change it somehow quickly, but I didn't. Thor is fat throughout the whole film. He's got like a little belly, because he hasn't been doing anything for 5 years except playing video games. Let's see, moving forward. So sure enough, they go back in time to different eras, 2013, 2014. They go to they only have enough for certain teams to be able to go back and then forward. That's it. It's the amount of pin particles they have. So they divide up into 3 teams, and it was kind of sucky the way certain things were played out. But we're okay to me, I guess. I think it was Cap, Ant-Man, Iron Man, and Hulk. So Bruce Banner Hulk went to New York. And then Black Widow and Hawkeye, as well as Nebula and Rhodey, War Machine, they go to 2014. They all meet up at the planet where the Power Stone is, and where Peter Quill is going to get it the first time. So they wait for him to come in. He does a little dance. You see from a different perspective that while he's dancing, without the music playing, like for us to hear, we just hear him kind of singing it. It's kind of funny because I kind of expected that. You see like Rhodey's like, oh, so he's an idiot. I think that was the first time that they met, or that was the first time he saw Peter Quill. Anyway, they knock him out. They get the Power Stone, and then Nebula has like a little headache or something like that. Something happens to that timeline's Nebula. She has weird headache, and I guess she's sharing the same network as the other Nebula from the future. And this Nebula is actually still very much in line with Thanos. And when he realizes what's going on, he sets in motion a plan to abduct that Nebula, look through all of her memories, and then devise a plan to basically go forward in time and then fully destroy the universe. Because in his own words, if there's anyone from the past that remembers what took place, they're always going to be ungrateful and always try to set things, back in some way. Those aren't exactly his words, but close enough. It's pretty much what he wants now at this point. It's just to destroy everything and then recreate it. So I'm going to skip a few things because I don't think you guys want to hear every little thing, but they get all the stones. They get it in a very unique way because at one point they lost the cosmic cube Loki, which was kind of funny. It's all thanks to Hulk and stairs, and you guys will understand that if you've seen it. If you haven't, you will. And then Captain America and Iron Man have to go back in time to the 1970s, and this serves as for one, it allows them to get more Pym particles because Hank Pym is working for the government base that they go to, and the same government base that they go to also has the cosmic cube. That's where they had it in place for years. So Tony Stark goes for the cube, and he also happens to meet his dad along the way. And he has a conversation, like one last time with his dad, kind of like talking about the kids that they have. Tony Stark's dad, his wife is, almost ready to give birth to Tony. And then Tony Stark is talking about his, daughter. He now has a daughter because it's been 5 years, and him and Pepper Potts, they have a kid together. And it's funny enough, it looked just like my daughter. It's so funny. That was a cool moment for him to be able to speak with his dad, kind of patch things up before the end, And then Captain America sees Peggy Carter. I was about to say Peggy Sue. Peggy Carter, and I guess a lot of things go through his mind. He does get the Pym particles, and then they go back to the present. On the other side of things, Black Widow and Hawkeye go to the, I forgot what the name of the planet is, Margarita, I don't know. So they go to Margaritaville, and they have to do the same thing that Thanos did with Gamora. One of them has to die for the other to get the stone. A big fight ensues. They don't want each other to go, but eventually Black Widow's able to do it. And there's a good reason for that, and that would be because her contract's up and this is one of the ways they planned it out, I guess. You know, to allow her to die in a meaningful way. So they got the Infinity Stone, which is the Soul Stone, and then let's see what else. When they head back in time, I think Nebula switches with her future self, and she comes back, and you know, she's gonna do something eventually. So they devise a new Infinity Gauntlet with Iron Man's tech, his nanotech, it would seem. And then they put the stones together. Looks good. Everything's going well, and they all argue over who should have it. Thor tries, but he's not in the right mindset to be able to use it. Hulk comes out of nowhere and just like, yeah, well, this thing is giving off gamma radiation, so I think I'm meant for it. So I'll do it. You guys wouldn't survive. Then he puts it on, and it's hurting him at first, but he still is able to manage to put his hand up and then snap. And the result, he basically fries his arm. I think it was his right arm. His right arm. He fries it, and it does not heal. Throughout the whole movie, it does not heal, which to me was kind of weird. I mean, maybe it's the permanence of, the power that the Infinity Stones have. Like, maybe he can't heal it, he can heal other things. Or this version of Hulk is just not that strong. So let's see. After that, Nebula kind of goes into her plan, which is to bring back Thanos' whole ship, and somehow it was quiet enough to expand in their base, move up and out of the building, like through the ceiling. It just crashes out. No one heard it, and goes into the sky. Ant-Man goes to the he goes to the window to look out, and he looks up and he sees a ship, and something kind of flashes, and it's like a rocket or something being launched literally at him. Blows up the whole headquarters, and this is the start of everything. They're going to have like a huge fight here, but the headquarters are completely destroyed. Thanos of 2014 is here. He's got his entire army. You see the Chitauri, you see like the little alien dogs, you see his his heralds, if you will. I forgot what they're called, the Black Order, or I forgot their name, honestly. But it's everybody we saw from Infinity War that were taken out one at a time. And let's see. So everyone kind of has their own little thing going on. Not Hulk. It's Cap, Thor, and Iron Man all take on Thanos. Hawkeye is trying to retrieve the Infinity Gauntlet because it fell on the ground after Hulk used it. And when the explosion happened, then everyone kind of got separated. Building collapsed, and he's the closest to it right now. So next, you see the fight take place with Thanos, and the guys are holding out on, holding their own for the most part up until Thanos, does some trickery and just overpowers everybody. Like, a lot of this didn't make sense, but there is a scene where Thor, he gets knocked out or whatever. Not knocked out, knocked away. He loses the Mjolnir, which, by the way, the reason he has Mjolnir in this is because he went back into the past. This is one of the other areas where they had to get an Infinity Stone. They went back to the past where Jane Foster was in Asgard, and him and Rocket basically got the Infinity Stone. Sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier. While he was there, he put his hand out, calling for Mjolnir, because he thought, you know what, let's just do this. Bring it back, extra firepower. When he does get the hammer, which took a second, he says, "Oh, look at that! I am still worthy." um, so in the fight with Thanos, he drops that hammer, Mjolnir, and guess who picks it up? It was Cap. Captain America picks it up. By the way, Captain Marvel was basically in the beginning of this and at the end of this. And if she was a big enough important character in this, I think it would not have gone as well, in my opinion, because they're pushing certain things a little too much in people's faces right now. Like, I'm going to explain exactly why even 15 minutes was still not done properly in a little bit when I get to the end. That character, I swear, you can't do justice. You just can't. So Cap gets it, and he's using it in conjunction with his shield, and there's some really cool scenes. But Thanos, with that stupid sword of his, still does damage, and he destroys he actually destroys Cap's shield. So Cap now has like half a shield, and he still has the hammer, but he's pretty much effectively knocked down, and he's trying to get back up like all heroes are supposed to, and he's still gonna fight. Thanos' whole army appears. His Black Order, and correct me if I'm wrong on that one, appears as well. And then Cap hears Sam on his radio saying, Cap, it's Sam, on your left. And you see Doctor Strange's portal open up, and Black Panther, his sister, and his guard all come out. And it looks like then right after that, the rest of the Avengers, like all these different portals open up from everywhere, and everyone comes back. Everybody comes back. Everyone but Vision, which I thought was really dumb. Like, it just kind of left that alone, and they didn't have to do that. But I think that might have been a contractual thing, that they didn't include him, maybe. Because going forward, there is going to be a Wanda and Vision show. I just don't know what time frame it's going to take place. Could show their old adventures, or maybe Black Panther's sister helps to recreate him. Because otherwise, you think about it, there was literally no purpose behind her doing anything to Vision in Infinity War. There was literally none, no purpose. So my thought is they're doing something with him in the future, like in the future of this timeline. They're going forward. They're going to probably try to bring him back, give him the Scarlet Witch, maybe even in a different form, because he had a few other variations in the comics. Anyway, so all the Avengers fight, and you even get to see people like Pepper Potts and donning like her own Iron Man armor. And it's very much like Iron Man's, except like maybe it's like silver and blue, or white and blue, something like that. It has all the same, abilities as what he had in Infinity War, and what he has now, I guess, in this film, if you, consider anything. So everyone's there. The Valkyrie's there. I will tell you the scenes that were kind of cool, and the scenes that were kind of meh. There was the stupid scene where there's like a girl power scene. Like, literally, they get all the women together to fight after, I forget who it was. One of the girls were like needed help or something like that, and then one of the other women stepped forward and said, she's not alone, or something like that, or I'll help her, we'll help her. And all the women get together, and it was so dumb, because you're thinking, if this is really the end, oh my gosh, you're going to only get like maybe half your team together, only the women, only, like, really? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That was such a stupid forced scene. No, you get everyone together. Everybody. This is the problem with the comics. They try to do the same stuff too, and it doesn't make sense. No, you guys, that wasn't that cool. I mean, this is my problem. Like, people look at things like in a group manner, you know, and I think it makes no sense because it's not reality. It's not reality that, if the scenario was, um, real, like reality, you wouldn't separate just to prove a point about one group. They're all together, and this is like the end of the universe kind of a thing. All of them together aren't going to be able to stop Thanos, especially in the scene where he gets the gauntlet. One thing I didn't like about it was they overpowered Captain Marvel big time, and they nerfed Thanos, where he was able to take on Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man here, and he was able to do that pretty effectively. Here, with the gauntlet, with all of his strength, he could barely keep up with Captain Marvel. She flies into him, punches him, all that stuff, tries to grab the gauntlet, and he headbutts her, and you just hear like a thud, like hitting steel. Like her head is just steel. And she just looks up like unfazed, and forces him to kneel or something like that. Like, starts hurting his hand, and then she starts trying to take the gauntlet off, and he does a smart thing of grabbing the power stone from the gauntlet, putting it into his right hand, gaining the power in his left hand, and then punches her back, blows her away. So in that scene, she took one of his headbutts, I guess, and was not affected. And I just thought, dude, are you serious right now? Are you really this? Oh my god! Like, they're trying to say that she is stronger than him. I just don't buy a lot of this. I really don't. But that's because we know, differently in the comics. It's a completely different story. I feel like that effectively makes Thanos not that important, not that strong. If she could do that to him, then I guess you might as well have just sent her to fix everything in the universe. Like, she's the answer. And I think that was a poor choice on their part. You want to make her the face of things, make her earn that. She hasn't earned it. The fans of that Captain Marvel movie mostly are just saying that she earned it because she basically is trying to take on the patriarchy. There's not a whole lot more to it. There's nothing special about what she did in the film. She was experimented on. She had the Infinity Stone give her the power, I guess, or something. It had something to do with that. And her memory is wiped. She was used by the Kree, and she had that chip that was preventing her from using her full power because patriarchy. And at the very end, she took it off, and she destroyed a whole bunch of ships as binary. And there's no limit to binary's power. It looks like she just turns it on or off, and it's always like that. And yeah, I'm really not digging it. I'm just not. She destroyed Thanos' ship also, but after that, that was it. That was like the end of us seeing much of her. So, what else happened? Doctor Strange looks at Iron Man after he sees that Thanos has the gauntlet back again, and he puts up his hand, and he puts up his his index finger, making it look like he's trying to say there was only one way for us to win. And he shows that to Iron Man or Tony Stark, and Tony Stark realizes this is his moment right now. He's got to do this. Nobody else is going to be able to do this. He rushes at Thanos, grabs the gauntlet, pulls it up, but he's not able to take it off. But he does put his hands over the Infinity Stones, and it is an Iron Man tech, the nanotech. So he gets punched back. Thanos has the gauntlet still. He says, "I am inevitable," echoing something he had said prior in the film. His future self had said prior in the film, that I am inevitable. And he puts his hands up, he snaps, but nothing happens. He looks at the gauntlet, sees the stones are missing, and then you see Iron Man has the stones in his armor. And he puts his hand up and he says, I am Iron Man, and snaps. And I thought, dude, that was sick. That was pretty cool. There were good moments. There were awesome moments in this. As soon as he snapped, all of Thanos' men started dying, like dusting, whatever you want to call it. That sounds horrible, dusting. So they start disappearing, just like the good guys did in the first film. And Thanos, then he's gone too. He becomes dust. And you look at Tony Stark next, and it ravaged like the right side of his body. He's dying. This is it. This is the end. So we had Black Widow die. We had Iron Man then beginning to die. Peter comes in and says, hey, you did it, sir. We did it. You and he's very emotional. But then Gwyneth Paltrow kind of, takes Peter and pulls him back. And then she's, kneels down and says, we're going to be okay. Tony, we're going to be okay. You can rest. And that was it. That was literally it. Once he passes away, then she starts to like cry. She didn't want to show him any crying. So that was literally his end right there. Which, I don't know. I felt like maybe they could have done something different, but maybe they thought because of the characters' interactions of the past that's exactly how Gwen would want things to go, Gwyneth Paltrow, or Pepper Potts, I should say. That's how her character would act, I guess. Like trying not to show emotion. I don't know. But then Iron Man does pass away, like, job well done. And then fast forward, time goes by, they do a funeral for him, for Iron Man. You see everybody there, the important characters that could make it. Hulk's arm still isn't healed up, which is upsetting, but whatever. And after all this, they show Captain America, Falcon, and Bucky. Cap is going to bring back all the Infinity Stones as well as Mjolnir. It's supposed to only take 5 seconds on their side of it, but he'll be gone for a bit, And so he puts everything back. He goes back in time. 5 seconds go by, and he doesn't come back, like, at all. And they're trying to figure out why. I immediately realized it was because of Peggy. He didn't want to leave Peggy. And Bucky is the one that turns around and sees Captain America sitting on a bench far from them, looking out onto the ocean, or the lake, or wherever they are. And he says, he calls Sam over and says, Sam, look, go talk to him. To me, it almost looked like Bucky at that point, like, had already known what was going to take place. It's kind of weird. And so Cap basically became old. He lived his life with Peggy, and he was happy. But then at that moment, when he talks to Sam, he gives Sam his shield. I thought, not this early. It's supposed to go to Bucky, but when have they done anything in the correct order in these films? Or done it the correct way, So Sam gets it. He's going to be the new Captain America. And they're going to have a Captain America. They're going to have a Falcon and Bucky show on Disney Plus, along with Vision and Wanda. They're also going to have Loki, and they're also going to have a Hawkeye show. Moving forward, they're also going to have a Black Widow movie that's going to be set in Avengers 1 time frame. Like, I think it was before that. So they're going to set that up the way they're going to set it up. And hopefully it's done well. Oh, they're also going to have a Loki show. I don't know what time frame that's going to be in. We did see Loki in this film a few times. That was kind of funny. But in any case, moving on. That was essentially the end. We go back in time one last time to see Captain America living his life out with Peggy Carter. They're just like in a home together. They're dancing to old-timey music, and they look at each other, they kiss, and end credits. That's it. There's no end credit scene. They just end on that note. So Stan Lee's cameo in this was when they went back to the 1970s the first time. He's in a car looking super young, and he says something like, make love, not war, or something like that, or peace, hippies, or I forget what he said. He said something funny going by, but I thought it was kind of a missed opportunity because he could have said something better. He could have done something better. Could have been a completely different scene. Had they known that he was going to, pass away, I think they would have changed it. But not knowing what's going to take place, yeah, that was the scene. There was a younger Stan in a car with a woman driving by the military compound, yelling something like, love not peace, or what is it? Love not war, peace not war, something like that. So I feel the movie did good things, but also after thinking about it, sitting on it for a bit, I felt it could have been way better in other areas. Thor didn't have to be fat. Black Widow maybe didn't have to die that way because she didn't even get to see the ending, but everything worked out. That was kind of sad. Groot really didn't have much of a part in this, but if you want to consider anything, you consider Infinity War his bigger part, but even there, that wasn't really that much. You think about it, just mostly the axe in that movie, and then the fight scene, and that was really all you got, which is fine. It's what it is. And then what else took place in this that's worth mentioning? Everything kind of went back to normal, and normal for what was normal as normal could be. That's all I could say. So, as far as this movie is concerned, it's not my favorite, but it's up there. I'm still gonna say it's my favorite's Infinity War, then Civil War, then Captain America, Winter Soldier, and then Iron Man, and then the rest. And I think that's enough for me. I'm good. I don't even think I care to watch the future Spider-Man movie coming out. I think it's called Far From Home. I'm actually good. I think I'm done with superhero movies like this, like Marvel, like they're continuing, what they're going on with forward. I'm not going to go to the theaters right when these movies come out anymore. But for me, it's because I can tell they're going to be copying a lot of the stories that came about in the kind of the social justice era, where they're trying to basically make things more of a, how do they put it? They put it a certain way. It's like they're trying to make things more Lifetime-esque. And a lot of people, it rubs them the wrong way. There's a reason why, certain comics like Venom, by Ryan Stegman, Donny Cates, they're doing so well is because they're tapping into like that old school vibe. That is the main reason. So, that's that. And I'm okay with things ending this way. I think they could have ended a lot of other ways, but this is what they did. The Russos did a good job. Yeah, I hope you guys like the movie. Love to hear what you have to say about it, about any of the scenes whatsoever. I hope you love this or at the very least found it mildly entertaining, my review with spoilers, um, which is, I guess, more kind of a recap. But yeah, so I hope you like this recap slash review. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Share around if you would. I would appreciate it very much. Love to grow this channel out, and please like, comment, let me know what you think. Um, and I will say this: there is a there was a necessity for these films to come out. They brought many people into the Marvel universe, and showed the characters that a lot of people loved. Um, Gave everyone background on things, explained it, and showed a new story. Um, and it proved that there's a big market for superheroes and comics and stuff. Um, there is a big market, and there are lots of independent creators that are also proving that too. So while you guys are, finishing up with this series, this whole Marvel movie thing, this franchise, if you are into comics, look at the indie scene. Check out everything out there. I promise you're going to find a lot of good stuff that's not Marvel, not DC. You're going to find lots of incredible things. And a lot of them are just starting right now. So, in any case, you guys take care. Have a great day. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.